Hello, time wasters. How are you? How are you diddling? Dom Lawson here, back once again with another waste of everyone's time, but all in the spirit of metal. So good times, I think you'll agree. Yes, this is Dom's Iron Sandwich, or Dom Lawson's Iron Sandwich, or just the Iron Sandwich. Call it whatever you want. That load of old shit with the middle-aged chubby grebo, you might want to call it. I don't care. Yes, so it's time to review another lovely album. The last one wasn't a review. I was just waffling on about Bloodstock. Sorry about that, but as it turned out, I was correct. Bloodstock was fucking brilliant. Just for the sake of filling this up with something other than me talking about an album, because that's not very interesting, is it? Yeah, Twisted Sister, probably the best thing that's ever happened. Akakoka, I got actual goosebumps. You know, people always say, "Oh, I saw the band and they gave me goosebumps." They didn't really, did they? But actually, Akakoka, got the goosebumps are so intense just thinking about them that I can't even say their name. It's got too many consonants in it. But they were incredible. They played Son of the Morning, and I got the actual goosebumps. So there you go. Thrilling stuff, Dom. Loads of other bands were brilliant. Divine Chaos were brilliant. I don't know. You probably went, to be fair. If you're watching this, there's a good chance you were there, so I've got nothing to tell you, really. Anyway, this week I shall be talking about just riffing, man. That's all I'm doing, riffing on the new album by Swedish power metal, I don't know, renegades? No, probably not. Sabaton. The new album is called The Last Stand. And it's out on Nuclear Blast Records very shortly, I believe. I'm going to look up when it's actually out. Just for you, I'm going to do it for you right now, because I'm good like that. I'll tell you when it's coming out, because I've got the information at my fingertips. This is brilliant, isn't it? It's just like, I mean, this should be on telly, really. Let's be honest. Where is it? I've got the information there somewhere. There we go. Oh, it's out on the 19th of August, so that'll be this Friday. So if you're watching this on a Friday, then all for the better. It's out today. You can go and buy it, and just switch this off now, not have to listen to me tell you what it sounds like. I mean, let's be honest. You know what it sounds like. It's a Sabaton album. I mean, that's slightly unfair. I don't think it's particularly unfair, really, to say that Sabaton's records all kind of sound the same. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to say maybe all their songs sound the same. So I don't know. I don't want to be hot. The thing is, it's kind of a bit too easy to take the piss out of power metal, because it's why the cool kids always take the piss. Like people sneer at power metal. I'm not. I mean, there are lots of power metal bands that I have enjoyed listening to and watching live. I would say that there are a few albums I think that are absolute classics from that genre. I think my overall problem with power metal is that it's a little bit too fucking happy sounding for my liking. I won't name drop, but I once did an interview with a quite famous musician in the metal world, and he said that every time his band got described as power metal, he wanted to break things, because he said our music isn't happy, and power metal is all kind of "way" and "we're going to war," which is basically what. I mean, I know war isn't happy. That's not the point I'm making. Yeah, so I find a lot of it a bit too parpy on the keyboards, and a bit too Dungeons and Dragons and all the rest of it. And I know there are loads of people that are massively into power metal, and much respect to you for listening to the uncool music, which is what we're supposed to be in this for in the first place. You would have thought, rather than desperately trying to be up with the latest thing that the 14-year-olds are listening to. But that said, there's a lot of power metal that I'm just not that bothered about. I've got to be honest. And I would say, to some extent, I'm not a massive Sabaton fan. But having said that, every time I've seen them live, I have really enjoyed them. I mean, they're ludicrous, but heavy metal's supposed to be ludicrous. There should be more ludicrous things happening, and fewer bands standing around in the same clothes that we're all wearing, singing songs about mundane things. Heavy metal's supposed to be big and over the top and ludicrous, not necessarily all the time, but certainly most of the time, I would have thought. And so Sabaton fit the bill nicely in that regard. They're great fun live, they've got a really kind of uplifting vibe to them. Yes, you are jumping up and down with a grin on your face, singing songs about horrible massacres on the battlefield, which seems slightly odd, but who doesn't enjoy a Cannibal Corpse album, for instance, and that's not very pleasant either. Although slightly less cheery musically, I suppose. But anyway, So, you know, live, I'm banging to Sabaton as an idea. Certainly as a live band, and they are lovely people. I've met a couple of them; they are very nice. Obviously, as most Swedish bands are, not like us horrible Brits. Oh, terrible people. Although, you know, that's obviously nonsense as well. Yes, what was I going to say? Yes, it's Sabaton's 8th album, this, The Last Stand. And I've got to say, that they are, I mean, they are one of the biggest bands in power metal, without a doubt. They, certainly in the UK, they're filling pretty big venues. They are consistently popular attraction at festivals, you know, and they're doing well in the States, and you know, like they're a big band. But even bearing that in mind, and bearing they must have a huge fan base, the idea of eight Sabaton albums that all sound more or less the same is a little bit draining. But I have to say that I kind of listen to them once or twice and go, yeah, all right, cool, and then don't listen to them again. This one I don't think is particularly different for me. I've paid it more attention, I think, this time because I knew I was going to be talking about it on this utter nonsense, you know. But it's, you know, it's a good record. I mean, this one, the album's called The Last Stand, and all the songs are about, you know, last stands, as you can imagine, and from battles from various points in history, from what I can see. The opening track is called Sparta. Now, I have to be honest, I haven't made it all the way through 300 yet, so I'm not sure if I care or not, but Sparta, it's just, you know, it's kind of perfect Sabaton material. It's all with the intro on the keyboards, and, you know, what's not to like, really? My problem with Sabaton albums usually is that it's kind of worn a bit thin by the third or fourth track. But having said that, on this album there are a couple of songs that I really genuinely like. One in particular, since I've forgotten which the other one was, but there's one called Hill 3234, which actually starts off in kind of thrash metal mode, really, which is, I guess, a little bit unusual for Sabaton. Well, it's not. It's just a faster Sabaton track, really. So, you know, it doesn't sound like Exodus or something, but you know, it's a harder, tougher kind of sound for them. It starts with a really brilliant drum fill. If you're only going to check out 5 seconds of this album, check out the first 5 seconds of the 8th track, which is called Hill 3234 or Hill 3234. I don't know. It never explains these things on the press releases. And it's you know, I kind of like the more aggressive stuff that they do, because I think when it slows down to that kind of moody, you know, storytelling kind of pace, oh, and then something happened on the battlefield, and it was quite interesting, and all that, you know, I'm not really in this for atmosphere particularly. I'm kind of in it for punch in the air and big dumb heavy metal tunes, you know. Not that Sabaton are dumb. I mean, to be fair, they've done the research. These songs are, you know, inspired by a genuine enthusiasm and interest in these things, in war stories and, you know, battles, and on this occasion, last stands. You know, it's I wouldn't fault their sincerity, but neither would I pretend, you know, neither would I claim that Sabaton are unaware that what they do is ludicrous in some way. You know, it's, you know, heavy metal bands know that they're being ludicrous. It's not, you know, you can stack up on the outside thinking that you're terribly clever for not liking it, but actually, you know, they know, and that's why it's good. Alice Cooper always springs to mind when people say things like that. It's, oh, they're fucking ridiculous. Look, how ridiculous is Alice Cooper? You know, this man knocking on 70, he dresses like that. He's doing a ridiculous thing with a guillotine on stage, and it's preposterous in every possible way, and that's why it's good. Yeah. Things that are good are very often preposterous, I find. But anyway. So that track, Hill 3234, really good. I like that. The title track, The Last Stand, I remember thinking that was good. And there's one called Blood of Bannockburn, which is, you know, for all the Scottish power metal fans out there, I'm sure will be a firm favourite. That's the limits of my knowledge of Bannockburn. Although I did look up Hill 3234, especially for you. Look, I'll read to you. This is what you get for paying nothing. Okay, the battle for Hill 3234 was a successful defensive battle fought by the 345th Independent Guards Airborne Regiment, Soviet airborne troops in Afghanistan against a force of 200 to 250 Mujahideen rebels in 1988, January 1988. There you go, folks. You can't say at the end of the day you've sat through nearly 10 minutes of utter nonsense. But at least you've learned something. You've come away enriched. So yeah, the Sabaton album's great. I mean, if you like, is the problem with these reviews is that if I really dislike something, I will let you know. Don't worry. But if I, you know, kind of like the notion of a band, you know, and kind of dig what they're into, and you know, I'm not a massive fan. I'm not going to sit around at home listening to Sabaton very much. You know, that's a reality. But that doesn't mean that I don't think you should check this album out, because I think if you like power metal, if you like ridiculous, over the top metal, sung by a guy wearing mirror shades, wearing a kind of strange chest plate. I don't know, what is that? A blues on? Who knows? Smashing blouse. Anyway, it's Sabaton. It doesn't sound particularly different from any of their other records, but the production's great. It sounds huge. They get 10 out of 10 for enthusiasm every single time, obviously, and the songs, the best songs on this record will be great when they play live and sell out venues all over the place because people love this stuff. That's the reality of it. I can't say anything bad about it, really. It doesn't annoy me on any level. Which is, tantamount to a perfect review, really. There's nothing about this that disappoints or annoys me. It's a good, strong power metal record made by a band that worked really hard. So, what else can I say? And as a result, I'm going to stop this one way earlier than the previous two because I think that sums it all up quite nicely, or at least as nicely as it's going to get, frankly. So, next week I shall be reviewing something else. So we'll all look forward to that, won't we? Cheers, folks. Thanks for watching this twaddle. Bye. I'm going to press the button. Hang on. Bye.